Well, welcome to Breaking the News Plus. Here in the state of Minnesota, it's kind of like the eve of the Super Bowl when it comes to the food scene, because today was the day the Minnesota State Fair told us of the 33 new State Fair foods coming. And there's no one better to talk to about State Fair food than Steph Shimp with the Blue Plate Restaurant Group. She knows State Fair food like no other. Thanks for joining us today, Steph.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
Is it an exciting day for you when we hear about all the newbies coming to the fair?
It is. It's a little bit, like you said, like the Super Bowl or Christmas, or you're excited the night before when you go to bed and you wake up before your alarm goes off because you want to know what's coming out.
Yeah, and it never, the list, I even saw members of our congressional delegation posting about it today. You know, no lack of creativity with coming up with something new every single year. I know you've got a new food item, maybe more than one. What do you got going this year, Steph?
We have one this year. It is a funnel cake battered cheese curd. So white cheddar cheese with a funnel cake, so like a little bit of a sweet batter, and then it's topped with a lemon ricotta whipped cream and a little bit of blueberry jam.
So is that a main course or is that a dessert?
I think it could fill both categories.
Yeah, you don't want to limit yourself to just one lane at the fair. It is whatever people say it is. You know,
it can be breakfast if you want.
Absolutely. Anything goes. You know, one thing that I've always been curious about, another journalist brought it up here at the station today, is when someone's new, let's say somebody is a vendor for the first time or they have a food there for the first time, how much pressure is that to get it right, get the supply right, get the marketing right? You know, how does one even go into something that big?
It's a lot of pressure. There, as you said, the supply chain, making sure that all of your vendors understand under no circumstance can you run out. And if you should not guesstimate right, you have to figure it out. I think you have to be an excellent problem solver to be at the state fair, because you don't know what's going to happen, whether it be weather or just demand that you didn't anticipate. You have to be able to solve problems and be really good at it.
And part of, solving problems may be that creation of a new menu item, because I guess in my experience, you don't want to be too weird in that it just is like, kind of like, oh, gee, look at that, but I'm not going to pay for it and eat it. That's a bad plan.
Right. For me, I think you also market and know who your customer is. And I have, in the location that I have near the transit hub and with the building I have, I think it's incumbent upon me to appeal to the masses. And that requires a food that, like you said, can be breakfast, can be lunch, can be dinner, can be sweet, can be savory, perhaps all in one bite. And also shareable. I want my food to be shareable so families can come in and get one of this and one of that and something to drink and sit down at those cute little blue picnic tables and have a great time.
Yeah, that's a great idea, because some people might want to get a couple of things, but if it's like, say, a sandwich, no offense to sandwiches, we all like them, that's a harder shareable item than like a bowl of curds.
Oh, for sure. And it has to be, I'll use the term affordable loosely. Nothing seems to be affordable these days in terms of food, but there has to at least be a perceived value or a visual value, or the experience has to go along with the price, and that creates the value for you. So I want to make sure that people walk away happy and they're like, oh, that was really good. I would go back for that.
Interesting. Is the goal with the new food, Steph, that it stay around for the long haul, that it become kind of a tradition food, or is the goal just to make it 1 year and that's that?
I think it really depends on the food. If it does have potential to stay around. That's great. However, I try to make a slot each year for a new food. So if I kept every great food, I wouldn't ever have a slot for new food. Or my menu would end up being, 20 items long, which isn't realistic either.
Right. Because as you said, food is expensive both for the consumer and the person preparing it, the organization. And you can't really afford to overstock on just that one thing because you don't want to take that cost hit.
Right. And you have to take into consideration production and the labor that it takes or makes to do the dish. There's so many factors that go into it. And as we said, sourcing and storage and are we producing it on site? Are we producing it off site? How does all that work?
How do you decide on the front end? Let's say we are on, the week before the fair starts. How do you decide how much of your new item you're going to have the first day? Like, how can you even predict how many will be bought?
Well, now that I have 10, 11 fairs behind me, it's easier for me to predict. Bacon sells, cheese sells, potatoes sell, chicken sells. I have a little bit better idea of what's going to sell, especially in terms of my customer base. But you don't really know. I mean, we had a year, probably 6-8 years ago, we had a BLT. We, I think, had predicted 6,000 orders throughout the fair. And by the end of the first weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we'd sold 6,000 orders. And we were clearing the, tri-state area out of bacon in the particular size and flavor profile we needed. And fortunately, we were working with a bakery that is local to produce the bun that we were using. And they also have a place at the fair, so they fully understand what it takes. And they were able to run a second, production run of buns for us. Otherwise, we would have been switching to a different product had they not been understanding.
So that's like the decision making on the fly is that, wow, if something is actually taking off, and with the fair, especially with social media, it feels like it does that in real time. So if somebody starts tweeting about it, especially like a food blogger, or somebody's like, this is good, that has influence, your line could be, 100 deep the next day.
Oh yeah. It's really changed over our first fair was in 2014 and it was a different world. Yes, there was Facebook, yes, there was Instagram, but it wasn't the same as it is today. And it was pre at least mainstream TikTok.
I have a very specific memory of Chef Yia Vang at the fair, and it might have been his first year, and just that whole supply and demand thing, watching it in real time, and he's just like, I don't know how to keep up with this, and no discredit to him, it's just like it blew up.
And just because you're a great restaurant operator or a great chef doesn't mean you're going to be good at the fair.
What's the difference?
For those very reasons.
Okay.
Well, it's all of your sales are compressed into 12 days.
Right.
And you're only as good as your throughput. If you have a 45-minute long line, you're not fast enough. And you'll lose people. They're not going to wait 45 minutes for a dish of XYZ.
I think that's probably why why we see those staples remain staples, right? Obviously Martha's Cookies, they've got a whole system going. Corn on the Cob place, they've got a whole system going where it's no matter if there's 200 people there, you're going to get it because it's a food that's kind of conducive to that. And probably to your point, if you're a great fair 12-day vendor, you may not be a great brick and mortar restaurant. They may not translate.
Absolutely. You're really a concessionaire. You have to think of yourself as a concessionaire for those 12 days. And really, yes, there are people that come to the fair multiple days. And occasionally, like when we launched our Nashville hot chicken on a stick, we did have people coming back 2-3 times for that same dish, but that's rare. Typically, you have the guest one time. And so you've got to make it great that first time because you might not get them back. I mean, you generally don't. Most people don't go to the fair multiple times. You
bring up, unless you work there like most of the TV media does.
Like us.
Yeah. You bring up the dish that I remember going to the Blue Barn for multiple times, and outside of those like standard fare of mini donuts when you got a kid or corn, the chicken was that thing. Was your Nashville hot chicken the biggest thing you've ever done, or was it that BLT? What was your one thing?
By far, that Nashville hot chicken that first year. By 50% more than the next piece that we've ever launched. It was by far, it was the timing was just right too. I think Nashville hot chicken was just on the way up in Minnesota, and we caught it at the right time, put it on a stick, and it was fun and it was great. That one stayed. And we will have, French toast was new at one point, a new item, and it now is a legacy item for us, just like the Nashville hot chicken.
My last question for you is one just for you as a person. When you look at you could pick from a new food or pick an old standard. Is there something that you saw on the list or something that every year that you don't sell that you got to get at the fair? What's the one thing you want this year?
I'm interested in the falafel pressed into a waffle. That looks kind of fun. I'm going to have to go check that out. And the mocktails from Urban Growler. Jill at Urban Growler worked with us at Longfellow Grill years ago before she opened Urban Growler, and I like to support my friends.
That's awesome. Jill and Deb do have a good thing going on, and I agree. The Baba's waffle made from falafel looks like something to get. Mine, I think, on the list is that waffle, but it's tied with the Farmers Union bison meatball sub thing.
That looked good too.
With patisserie.
Yeah, and they always have great coffee.
Yeah, and that is something I seek out at the fair. I don't know why, because I'm so jazzed, but it is something. Well, it's always something that's fun to talk about, that's fun to look forward to, and fun to go on our end of summer diet before we get to August and get it. Steph Schimpf with Blue Plate, we appreciate you. We'll see you at the fair.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Jenny. You too.
You bet. That's all from Breaking the News. Man, I'm hungry. Breaking the News Plus on this Wednesday night. Take care.